What is up, YouTube? It's Frank with What's the Point EDC. Check this one out, you guys. That's right, the Steve Callari Customs Huck. We're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about why this is such a good knife and why you need to look into Steve Callari Customs. There's many reasons. Stay tuned so you can find out everything. There's so much to talk about with this knife and with Steve and his company as a whole. There really is. Let's just go ahead and get into some specs. Obviously, what we have here is a really sweet leather sheath. Nice clip on it right here. This one rests in the pocket. You don't have to carry it in the pocket, but it's set up for that. Good leather work, nice stitching. I like how the stitching it's bold and it stands proud. The logo is freaking fire. Fitment, excellent. As you would expect. It's fire. Now, obviously, this is a leather sheath, so you wouldn't want to, go winging it as hard as you can, and it's going to be in your pocket, so keep that one in mind. So what we have here is crew wear at 65 HRC and 10 thou behind the edge. Full flat grind. Because it's a flat grind, it makes it slicey already. Then you add on that it's only 10 thou behind the edge, and you realize this thing is going to be a slicing champ in every way. And that's what it is. It cuts. You could take the edge clean off of this knife and it'll still cut. That's a fact. It's just the geometry is so good. Now, that's not the only thing that's good about this knife. The fit and finish, oh, you're damn right that looks good. Fit and finish is on point. No hot spots, no uneven. All lines of transition are smooth. Pens are smooth. Very well made knife right here. The micarta is a good micarta. He put the G10 liners, and they may be micarta liners. That's micarta pens that match the liners, so it just looks really good. You see that black liner, that teal green or whatever color that is, and then you have the black micarta. That looks so good. Copper lanyard hole. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say this now. I just watched a live that Steve did on Instagram, and there is gonna be a freaking new run of the Huck coming out. It's a little bit different, and he moved the lanyard tube down here. Oh yeah, this is gonna be a cool one to see, because the original Huck, this one right here, is absolutely fire. The tip, oh my God, that is such a fine tip right there. That tip, it just pokes into things. You push it onto something and you pull and it just cuts. It really does. And it's like canted downward to the point where it just works. It wants to cut, and it does a damn good job at it. Now, one of the biggest things that makes this knife so good, the heat treatment. Steve is a dude who is so full of knowledge. And the best thing about it is he's willing to give it out to people for free. That's the type of dude he is. He's going to teach everybody. He more or less, he has a standard, and he talks about his standard. And man, I'm just saying, you guys, go watch some of his lives. Just go watch one. Just watch 2 of them. And I bet you will come away from that live and you will have learned something. And that's a fact. I'm learning so much about heat treatment just from listening to what he's saying about the retained austenite that's in the blades and how that makes for soft spots in the steel and gummy burr removals. I'm learning all that from him. So I highly recommend you guys go check him out. But back to the knife. He did the heat treatment with this like a champ. This thing is on point with the heat treatment. 65 HRC crew wear, it just performs. It really does. I got this knife with a very well-used edge, as it turns out. Timbo had sent this in, and he had used it, and it came in screaming sharp still. And I did my edge retention testing with it. I'll link that in the description. And I did a hard use test with it. I'll link that one in the description as well. This is a very, very good knife. It's still sharp. It still wants to cut with no issue. And I've EDC'd it, hard use tested it, and did an edge retention test, and this thing still got so much life in it. Very comfortable knife. I think that the way he does his heat treatments and how he focuses on his geometry, it all adds up. It really does. It becomes a different knife. When you pay that much attention to what you're doing and you put that much into your knives. You got the knives? Yeah, I got some knives. This is so fire. When I first got this in hand, I immediately knew it was going to be badass. I already knew it. I knew it was going to cut good, but I didn't know how good it was actually going to cut. Because once I started cutting with this, I realized this thing cuts. It may be, honestly, right now, it may be just the all-around best performing as far as cutting goes, just standard cutting knives that I've used, especially for a fixed blade, no question. This thing does what it does, and it does it so good, and it feels good in the hand while doing it. One of the things that this handle does have that makes it a little bit unique is right here. It seems to lift up just a little bit. And what that does is fills your hand right there, just that extra amount that's necessary, in my opinion. It feels good and it looks good. You can't tell me that's not a sexy knife, you guys. Look at that. You can sharpen this thing for days. I mean, look at that sharpen life you got up in there. You can sharpen it and you don't have nothing to worry about. This is so fire. I can't wait to see what Steve does with the Gen 2 Huck. Now, this is a collaboration with Blade Binge. I'm just learning this right here. I didn't know that up until the other live that I had watched Steve do with another guy. There's a lot coming with Steve Callari. He just did a collaboration with Jared with Neve's Knives. Absolutely fire. Double harpooned blade. Yeah, it's going to be something fire. If you don't know about the knife, I believe you can just go to Jared's channel. Is probably the easiest way to find it. And it's one of his newest videos. It's probably his Blade Show video. I'm not sure which one it is, but you can find it easily. This thing it's that good. It really is. It's that good. Crewware is my favorite powder steel. Super steel, I should say, without a question. It just does everything that I like. And it does everything well. You know, and even though I typically like my stainless steels, and this one is definitely not stainless, but I've never had a problem with crewware at all. I mean, maybe it's just my environment, maybe where I live. Maybe I just take care of my knives a little bit better than other people. But I haven't even had a crewware knife get a patina yet, much less develop any type of corrosion, any type of actual rust. So that's something to be said. And I'm telling you, crewware at 65 HRC and only 10 thou behind the edge, it freaking smokes so much stuff. Now, here's one of the best things about it is crewware handles thin geometry so good. It handles the thin geometry, and you can lay the edge back if you want, and it'll still take it, you know. It doesn't have to be some really tall edge bevel, you know. You can lay that thing back 15 degrees and be good to go on a 10 thou knife. That's just something that I truly love about crewware. And this knife right here exhibits some of the most, it allows crewware to shine in some of the best ways. That's what it does. It looks good, it feels good, and it performs good. And it's made right here in the United States of America. And if you support Steve, you're supporting a USA company, and you're supporting a veteran. So keep that one in mind. That right there is always a plus. Supporting local, supporting the United States of America. Because like I've said a million times, a knife doesn't have to be made in America to be a good knife. I've got so many knives that were made overseas that I absolutely love. But when I get a USA made knife in my hand, it just has a different feeling, even though it technically doesn't, but it just does. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, hey, it's okay. We don't all get everything. The Huck is absolutely fire, you guys. I highly recommend this knife. It's a very good EDC fixed blade. It has an extremely thin tip, so you can just, everything it touches, it just cuts. So with that being said, this isn't the kind of tip that you're going to want to be prying open soda cans with or whatever. It's not for that. You know, this is meant to cut. Every tool has its purpose, and this one right here, its purpose is to cut, and that is it. Cut and poke. Poke, cut. I hope everybody enjoys this knife, and I hope if you have the opportunity to get one of these, I hope that you jump on it, because I absolutely assure you, you will enjoy this knife. This knife, even if you don't carry it, if you just keep it at the house and use it for food prep, it is a champion. Listen to me when I tell you this. I've done it. I've used this knife more than any knife that I have from Timbo right now. I love this knife with an absolute passion. It's so fire. It does what it needs to do so good and looks good doing it and feels good. So what else do you need? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Steve Callari for making a badass knife. Check his Instagram out. He no longer does YouTube. I highly recommend you check him out because you're going to learn something. You may hate him. You may love him. I don't know. It's a toss-up. But what I can tell you now is you're going to learn something from him. So keep that in mind. And shout out to Timbo for sending this thing in. I'm going to put a link to him in the description. Check his channel out, y'all. Check it out. Last thing, if you're an addict, never quit quitting. Stay strong and live long. If you're struggling with bad thoughts, reach out and talk to somebody. It is okay to talk. Never quit quitting and never give up. Take it easy and stay greasy, y'all. Peace.